Hi, or should I say good news, everyone. We are here for another day, another time for moral high ground. And today we are going to be talking about helping our furry friends. Yes, our little furry partners on Earth. We're going to be talking about them today. Why? Because I feel like it. And it seems like a song almost, a title. Helping our furry friends, our little friends. It's like one of them children things you hear when you watch Barney or Sesame Street. They'd be like, helping my furry friends, my furry friends. Anyway, that's what I'm talking about. So, so what I'm going to be saying is this, okay? So we're going to start off by talking about well, first off, if you want to hear this podcast, you can, get it on Spotify, you know, Google Podcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and you can check it out on YouTube and stuff like that. And all my previous episodes is on Spotify and these other platforms I just mentioned. So go on there, support, and spread the word. I don't like using follow, like, and share, subscribe, or whatever the hell, but do that or pass it around. We need information to be learned, and hopefully, someone learns something from what I'm saying, and people start acting morally right. So, without no further ado, let me get to it, okay? Now, I wanted to talk about animals again because, well, this is what I've done on this podcast before. You can only talk so much about mankind and the problems we have and the hatred and how to get rid of it and how to treat people like people and give them the respect they need and honor and love and attention, all this stuff. We could talk about humans till the sky turns blood red and demons start decapitating us and a lot of us get the rapture and Christ comes about. But I want to sit back and focus on the furry friends. Okay, it's gonna be a team, super freaky animals, and half of them are anthropomorphic or humanoid, fusors, whatever. And that's just something I'm saying. But in all honesty, we need to start looking out for Earth. Now, I can go on about what I'm about to say, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez and the Green New Deal, and we'll come up short. Why? Because, well, AOC didn't know what the hell she's talking about when it comes to environmental health and just saving Earth, trying to be a person that wants to help the environment, do the Captain Planet thing. Okay, it's not happening. It's not. It's just a delusion that's put there by her. Because school, paying for your college degrees or whatever, has nothing to do with helping out the environment. Getting rid of cows and cars is just going to make people pissed off and just make them want to kill her. And it's just not cool. So, my thing I want to talk about is this, okay? So, we're going to talk about helping the animals that are endangered. Now, the reason why I came up with this is a lot of things came across my mind the past couple weeks, and I came across multiple species that are being are about to go extinct, endangered animals. And one of them that struck my mind was a grizzly bear. The grizzly bear is like 30,000 of them left. California has none, even though their flag has representation that grizzly bears come from that state. And, well, I believe there's a way to bring them back or increase the multiplications of them or just increase them in general. And to do that, we need to find a way to make them breed. We need to put them in environments where it's safe and healthy for them and they can, populate again. There's also something with the ocelot. It's a cat that lives in trees, and its only region that it's comes from is the United States of America. and as well as wolverines and badgers. These tiny creatures are all starting to become on the endangered list, and we have to find a way to make them populate as well. So here's my thing: we already have PETA, like no fur wearing, no meat eating people who want to preserve the life of animals. Now, I'm not going to be a person that goes against PETA. I'm going to believe that they're a worthy cause, as well as they need help to make their plans come into light. And I believe maybe there's some more knowledge that could be taught to them from people that own petting zoos, as well as biological scientists that works with these species of animals that are both going extinct and those that are not, and be able to guide the people of PETA into finding more alternative ways to preserve life of these creatures on this planet. I believe this is a very important thing uh, because we're talking about things that are moral and that has to do with life lessons. And what better life lesson than to learn how to work and to appreciate other species as well as help them populate again to where future generations won't go, oh, panda bear, I remember those. Oh, yeah, I remember a deer. I remember a moose. I remember a squirrel. I remember Rocky and Bullwinkle. I mean, it's just honestly, you have to find a way to make these creatures be able to live for eternity on this planet. We've been living here so long as humans that even if you want to put a date time on when humanity started, you got to know it's been forever. And if humankind can live forever, there should be no reason why animal kind shouldn't be able to populate, grow, evolve, as they say, into something more uh, interesting. We have a goal and a purpose, I think, as mankind to be able to protect these animals and to preserve their lives for generations to come. I believe that God made mankind and then made animals for us to protect them. And this is why PETA can be very important and very strong as an organization to help with animals, as well as any other animal reserve. I believe there should be a boardroom meeting with all these other agencies that help animals in different ways and come together to find the ultimate goal to preserve animal life on this planet, as well as be able to make sure it expands not just from one part of the nation to another part, but to the world and places in the world where animals only are rare in and they're starting to go extinct. Find a way to express that uh, knowledge that you guys came up with and be able to help those lives preserve in those regions of the world that the animals are going extinct. I believe the main focus should be about trying not just to get funds, but find a way to make a land area where these animals can repopulate as well as be able to just be able to go ahead and make uh, a better habitat for themselves within that region that you find the land or whatever for. Some aren't native to America. A lot of them aren't native to other countries, wherever the zoos or whatever are. But there's no reason not to try to make them be part of that habitat. Many animals were not here in America before Americans came or the white man came. For instance, there wasn't no rodents, there wasn't no rats and mice here in America until they brought them over on the boats from Europe. There wasn't cats like regular household domestic cats. There wasn't none. Pigeons were a thing that was brought over here as a food source from France, but now they're just overpopulating and going all over the place, dropping crap. They're like rats in the air. And there's lots of more. Like horses, certain horses were not here in the United States of America, but were brought here, to do shows of entertainment, things like that. And The thing about it is, we need to understand these animals are now part of the American culture, now part of a thing where they're domesticated, spreading around the country, and their numbers never, dwindle. It always grows. But as for the ones that are native here, that dwindles and now grows, is something different. Now you might say, okay, they're going endangered. Ain't too much we can do about it. Well, you'd be wrong. The buffalo, American buffalo bison, was going extinct because of what happened in the 1800s. A lot of people loved eating them. Kids made balls out of them. Their guts, intestines. They made us, blow up balls like kickballs or whatever, and a whole bunch of stuff like that. So, and they used parts of them to, heat the fire. Was burns better. I forget what part that is. I think it's the liver or something. I can't remember. It's been a while, but this was taught in school through the Oregon Trail or the Louisiana Purchase. If you know, the Louisiana Purchase is the Oregon Trail story. It's just the beginning of it. That they bought the Louisiana, which was a big region of the United States at one time, and then it led into Oregon. Do your history, people. Read up on it. It's kind of cool. But yeah. So my point is, the buffalo went extinct or was going extinct at one time, and now they're back. Their meat is being sold, things like that. So if it could happen with the buffalo, it could happen with a grizzly bear, it could happen with an ocelot, it could happen with a panda bear, it could happen with any of these creatures that are going extinct at the moment. It's just a way of trying to populate them again. With that being said, I'm going to talk about a species that is mostly treated as a inanimate object, and that would be a tree. Trees have to be uh, populated again too through. I mean, there's lots of trees, and yes, a lot of tree species or plant species doesn't seem to be going extinct, but there is some that do go extinct because the fact that their environment has changed and there's nothing that can simulate that environment. And so, what I'm saying is this: is that to preserve Earth, we need more trees. Forget the Green New Deal and that fake environmental changing thing. We need to worry about planting more trees. And I'm not talking ferns. Trees have an underground connection when it comes to their branches and roots going in certain places. And so we need to, I believe, now I understand in the city they consider it a nuisance when you plant a cherry tree or orange tree or something, apple tree, and then the fruits just lay around, no one picks it up, whatever. It would help with the homeless thing, I believe, and have them have food. But I believe if you're in the country or anywhere where you have an opportunity to grow a tree, I believe you should grow at least one fruit tree, one nut tree, and one regular tree that can grow, and then random bushes that could do stuff. And I'm not talking like blackberry sticker bushes. I'm talking about like, a regular bush, like you might plant some jasmine if you got good sun. They grow mostly in the moonlight, they bloom, as well as the fragrance is amazing. And these plants are also needed for animal consumption. So I believe we can do this. We can repopulate plants as well as animals and probably make a more healthier environment if we can grow more trees that are exiled from being chopped down. And that's just something I'm saying. Now, to get to the nitty gritty, we're going to do this. We're going to talk about how mankind can actually help these animals. Now, I believe the best way to go about doing this is to make it like a thing where kids go with the persons that are experts, a group of kids that truly love animals. You take them out and teach them everything they need to know about the animal, how to help the animal, and let them be in front of the animal. Now, of course, if the animal is an apex predator or any type of predator, it might be a little impossible, but teach them in a way where they're not too intimidated or afraid of that animal. It's something that can be done, and it can be challenging, very challenging to work with some kids that are intimidated by these animals, but it's something that could work. And you say, oh, well, it's hard to keep kids' attentions nowadays, and especially in things like that. But here we go. Here's an idea. Pokemon. People love Pokemon. What's the main thing that happens in Pokemon? Well, they get these little creatures that look exactly like animals we all know and love, and they breed them, they train them, they do all this stuff. They talk about it all in the game. Well, why not just do it in real life with real animals that look like those animals? Have kids that only know how to work with horses, have kids that only know how to work with birds, animals, sea creatures, and start a whole different school system just for people that are trained to help love and take care of animals. And veterinarian stuff could be spread a little bit further than just college or veterinarian school. It could be spread into getting credits if you do it like in regular school for kids that are into animals, like have them go take a course where they learn how to medically hold an animal or uh, any type of thing like that. Take care of them, breed them, trim their fur, whatever it is, and be able to work with these creatures one on one. And I'm not just talking about people who live in the real areas of country land and farmland or wood areas. But I'm saying those that live within the inner city, and that way we can be able to start uh, trying to preserve animals for future generations if we teach the kids now. As for the adults, then the automatic thing is to try to create these habitats, like I said, try to be able to breed these animals again, but make a plan that's like Pokemon on everything a kid would need to know on how to raise and take care and repopulate these going extinct species. Now, here's the negative, the non, I don't know, binary when it comes to people and animals, because there's people who just hate animals. First, we're going to talk about the ones that like to hunt. Now, the ones that like to hunt, it's tradition in some ways, passing of the torch for man, some kind of proof that you're human, that you're at the top of the food chain, as well as it might be a hobby for some to go out and hunt elk and deer, pheasant, whatever season it is, hunting season, duck season, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season. Who knows why that's funny, but it is. But anyway, so these people need to be more regulated. There should be a time period if we're going to try to repopulate species that are going extinct or becoming um, just becoming on the extinction list of just pretty much vanishing from Earth. We're going to need to have these hunters regulated as well as poachers. Poachers should feel more penalties of the law for going outside of season and doing it just to make profit for whatever reason and endangering and damaging the lives of these creatures that we actually need to survive. Even if they're predators or not, they're out there. We need them as humans because the more stuff that I believe dwindles in the world that is a living species, the lesser our chance is as a human species to survive. I believe we all share some kind of historical, mythic, or just say majestic truth, some kind of strength that we're all connected on this planet. Not just humans, but animals, hell, even rocks. Like I said before, atoms are so tiny, they make up solid objects and they constantly move, but they are alive. Even though we look at a rock or a desktop or a computer or something, we're looking at something that has, you know, organisms moving around to make it solid. So take your science class, understand what I'm talking about when it comes to atoms, and you'll be like, oh crap, everything might be not what I think it is. There's a different reality within these things. Um, I don't know, but it's worth trying, worth checking out. So those haters need to be regulated and checked. And I believe if you're going to start trying to preserve certain animals that are going extinct on the endangered species list, these people will have to stop hunting for a number of years to let these animals increase. And whatever years it might be, it could be two, it could be five, whatever numbers you might need to let these animals breed and populate again. Now, I believe it all bases off of how long the animal can stay pregnant until the animal gets birth. Once again, something a group of people that want to preserve the life of animals, like PETA and lots of other agencies, can come together and figure that out. And so, the next part of what I'm saying, when it comes to the haters, the traitors of animal life, I'm talking about those who think some animals are worthless. Now, there's a friend of mine and another buddy of mine that actually told me first, but I heard it again recently from another friend of mine. And they were close friends at one time. And they both believed in the same damn thing, that panda bears are a useless animal and needs to be extinct because all they do is sit around and eat eucalyptus trees, which I wasn't going to correct him because it's really bamboo that they eat a lot of bamboo. There might be some eucalyptus in China or something, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty positive it's a bamboo tree. It's something to look up if you're into panda bears. But they believe that the panda bear is pointless. There's lots of animals that just sit around and eat a certain type of thing, but they're animals. So yeah, they're gonna eat that certain thing and not do much. This is what animals do. They don't have 9 to 5 jobs. They don't, they don't walk around and go, "Hey, look what I found out today in the news. Hey, have you seen the basketball game today? Do you know the Blazers got a lead guy? He's doing real good. He's the best in the season." No, they're not talking like that. They're walking around and they're eating and they're doing it and sleeping and as if it's their hibernating season and all kinds of things like that. So, how big my freaking hands is. Oh my god. But but honestly, they are animals. So yes, their routines are different. It's odd and stuff, but you get these people who just hate a certain animal for no damn reason. The only animal I have issues with is rodents. I hate rats. I hate mice. And yes, some reason why they terrify a person, I have no idea. There's people, I got cousins that are afraid of spiders. They just see a web or anything, they start freaking out. And with me, I just crush them if I have to. It's just no big. It's just a stupid spider. I've been bit by a bunch of them, different types, and maybe I have the neurotoxin doesn't affect me like it does others. I guess I don't know. But then there's certain bugs that do bite that can become painful, leave rashes, and I believe that has to do with the individual or um, I don't know, genetics. Some people can get affected by certain things on Earth, and some can't. And so I believe those that get affected by these certain creatures hate the creatures more. And so these people need to be taught more to understand themselves as well as the animal and see if that thing can be effective or not, non-effective. Certain reptiles like snakes, these snakes are poisonous, but if your blood was more saturated, the poison wouldn't affect you. And that's kind of hard because a lot of us isn't getting enough oxygen. But if we were getting enough oxygen in our body, our blood will be more saturated, and certain poisons, neurotoxins, and venoms would be non-affected to us. We wouldn't be feeling any kind of problem at all. It's kind of like if someone was poisoning you, like a woman you love or a boyfriend, whatever it is, in our world, human world, then you would have to. The best way to avoid a certain poison killing you is be able to make yourself immune to all poisons. And in some cases, that means to drink all the poisons or ingest yourself with all poisons at once. And if you live, then that means those poisons really can't affect you no more. It's kind of odd how our liver works as a filter, but when it comes to certain types of things, you're able to develop an immunity to it through ingesting it in some kind of way or inserting it. Because at the same certain, because people do a lot of weird crap nowadays to put things in their body. And so, anyway, my point is these things can all be taught, can all be shared in ways to try to preserve both mankind and human or animal kind. Um, One thing I want to say, and the reason why, like, oh, this is moral high ground. Why are we talking about animals? Because animals are meant to make mankind happy, I think. Besides the fact that I believe that animals were created for man to protect on this planet, I also believe that animals make us happy. That's why we like laughing at little stupid dogs and so many dog and cat movies. Hell, when I was a kid, I liked Benji and Lassie and Mr. Ed and all these things. The shows they don't make no more. Shows nowadays are always about whatever the political thing is the woke thing and the trans thing and the protest thing and the mass shootings and movies are all just everywhere now. Film is everywhere now. But back in the day, you have shows like Benji or Beethoven or any of those things with dogs and cats and stuff, and it'd be entertaining. Because hey, it's something simpler. It's animal trying to figure out our world and how to survive and get through our world to get what it wants, and it made you feel comfortable, wholesome type stuff. And you need to go back to that. You need to make something simple where it ain't so complicated, where it ain't so much about our world or the future, what our world's gonna look like, or how messed up it was in the past. Just make a simple show that's comfortable and has animals in it, where it shows mankind and animals working together. It'll be a beautiful thing. That's just something I want to throw in there. But let's just talk about the biblical factor besides the Adam and Eve thing, 'cause that's where I'm going when I say animals were created for man and to make us happy and whatnot. But there's a chapter or book in the Bible, and you all know it because in church they use it as a form to say that if you don't do what God says, He's going to make you do this. And so I'm talking about the book of Jonah and the story of Jonah and the whale, which is the fish, because in some stories it's the fish. But anyway, depending on where you heard it before. But anyway, so Jonah was told by God to go to this place called Nineveh and didn't go. He didn't want to go. He wanted to avoid it. He went onto a ship, and on the ship, God started making thunder, lightning, and making the water move everywhere like it was about to make the boat tip over, and the people on the boat are like, "Who's doing this, man? Is that guy sleeping over there?" Jonah was asleep. They're like, "Oh man, his God hates him, man. We gotta throw him off the thing so his God don't kill us." So back then they knew that God had more play in things. It'd be if somebody believed in a God, their God is powerful and follow him, which means mankind had a big connection with God. And you gotta think about it that way. And when it comes with animals, God had a creation that He paid attention to and made sure it helped grow into what we are today. It's the same thing with animals. We could help them grow into being better animals and more. Uh, we can make sure they last forever and grow into something great with mankind. But anyway, so whales, fish swallowed them up as they threw him off the boat, spit him off on the land that God wanted him to go to. He said, "He's not going to listen to me." And so he went somewhere and tried to go lay down. And a big plant grew in front of him. God made it grow in front of him. He laid under it because it gave him shade away from the sun. And when he woke up, it diminished. And then he found out that people actually did listen to him and his message of God. The story, if you read it for yourself, instead of hearing it just to hear it, you'll find out that God was telling a story of how to respect and love nature. And this is what we all should do. And this is the ultimate purpose of helping our furry friends to help nature. With all this being said, you have to know that there is good life in helping other life. So I'll end this with, as usual, peace be with you, blessings upon you always, and be safe. And farewell. Yes.